This is an exercise series that you can do if you have a tight pelvic floor and you want to lengthen and release not only the pelvic floor, but some of the other muscles that attach to the pelvis and influence the tension level within the pelvic floor. All you need is a bolster or a pillow or a yoga block, something that you're going to place underneath your pelvis during some of these exercises. We're going to start off on our hands and knees, hands directly underneath the shoulders, knees directly underneath the hips, feet slightly wider than the knees. Reaching those sit bones behind you, have a nice long spine, and then we're going to inhale. And as you inhale, you want to feel the bottom of your pelvis between your pubic bone, your tailbone, and your two sit bones is widening and moving downward or towards your feet in this position. So we inhale and exhale, and it just comes back into its resting state. You can almost picture, keep going, that your pelvic floor is like or your trunk is like a building, and your pelvic floor is at the main level. And when you inhale, you are picturing that your pelvic floor is going down into the basement. And then when you exhale, you're coming back to the main floor. So we're going to inhale, go down to the basement, really lengthening with your breath, not pushing out, but lengthening with your breath, and then exhaling to come back in. Then we're going to start to add some movement. You're going to inhale as your pelvis tips forward, pouring out the water in the front of the pelvis, and then exhaling and tucking. And you're tucking and you're not gripping through any muscles to get that tuck. Inhaling and exhaling, just moving through, stretching not only the pelvic floor, but also some of those deep hip rotators that can get super tight. And then start to go into circles. So we inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And you're getting the spine involved a little bit, but it may not be as big as a whole cat-cow or a whole spiral. That's all based on how you feel doing this. And then reverse direction. And then pause. From here, bring the feet in line with the hips, and you're going to sit back. And as you sit back, you want to keep your ribs in line with your pelvis, and those sit bones are really reaching behind you. No tucking the butt. So really reach, keeping those ribs in line, no gripping through any muscle. And then exhale, come back up. Inhale and exhale. And then this one, sit back and stay. So you can either cross your arms and rest your forehead on your arms. You can keep them extended out if that feels comfortable. In this position, again, I want you focusing on going down into the basement on your inhale without tucking your butt. You're inhaling. The pelvic floor between the pubic bone, the tailbone, and the two sit bones is expanding, lengthening, releasing, making space in the pelvis. Sit here for 5 of those breath cycles. Your exhale is just a resting exhale. You're not contracting. Getting that nice expansion. Once you've reached your 5, we're going to come back up. And from here, we're going to grab your bolster or whatever you're going to use to lift you off of the floor. In this position, we're going to go into a deep squat. So sitting on whatever you're using, it should feel comfortable for what you're sitting on. Your feet are going to be in line with your knees. If you feel comfortable, you could go wide and have your arms inside your knees. if that is comfortable, whichever is more comfortable for you. So if you're here, try not to overly turn your feet out. Keep them still facing forward, so you still get a nice expansion into the bottom of the pelvis versus closing off the pelvis by turning the feet out. So again, we're going to inhale down. That pelvic floor that is a diamond is expanding and making a bigger diamond every time you inhale. You're inhaling down, expanding, exhaling back up just to the main floor. Again, doing 5 full breath cycles in this position. Keeping everything else nice and relaxed, no gripping. Everything is melting away the tension. From here, once you reach those 5, we're going to bring the legs down, feet together, knees wide, and we're going to do a little lengthening through those groin muscles that attach to your pelvis and go right up into the pelvic floor. So from here, sit up nice and tall, and then you can lean forward until you start to feel a stretch in that groin area or inner thigh area. Inhaling down into your basement, exhaling back to the main floor. And once you get to your 5, sit yourself back up. We're going to lie onto our backs and we're going to put your bolster underneath your pelvis. Okay. For some people, you may not need this underneath your pelvis, but for others, it just feels more comfortable to have something underneath the pelvis with these stretches. So you're going to cross your right ankle onto your left knee, and then you're going to bring that left leg towards your chest. Use your exhale to lift so that you're not pushing out or bearing down. And then again, we're going to inhale down, really lengthening. You're bracing the right knee with your right elbow. You're sinking your pelvis in the opposite direction of your legs. So your legs are going towards your head. Your pelvis is going towards your feet. Once you've done your 5 breaths, just do a little rocking side to side. Pause back at the center, bring your right leg off, and then you can cross your left knee or ankle over onto the right knee. If you cannot do it with both of your legs up, you can bring them back down. That is perfectly fine. Again, we're going to hold that right leg. Left elbow is bracing the left knee, hugging those knees into the chest, but your pelvis is going in the opposite direction. Once you've gotten to your 5 breaths, again, we're just going to do a little rocking side to side. and then back to center. I'm gonna uncross, bring your right knee into your chest, and then lengthen out your left leg. Your leg may hover if it is tight. If it is really tight and your leg is hovering, remove what is underneath your pelvis. If not, and you just feel a really nice stretch in the front of your hip, great. Again, we're thinking inhale down into the pelvis, expanding in a down and out fashion. But at the same time, now I also want you to be thinking about bringing the back ribs towards the floor. So you're really filling the space between your ribs and the floor on every inhale, almost letting your ribs sink towards the floor. And that is going to increase that stretch in the front, which helps the pelvic floor. Again, once you get to your 5, slowly bring that left leg back up, just sliding, really trying not to grip through that front of the hip. And then we're going to bring that leg up to the chest and then bring the right leg back down, hugging the left knee in, filling the space between your ribs and the floor. Inhaling down into the pelvis. And then once you get to your 5, again, slowly bring that right leg back up. You can bring your left leg down, roll to your side, come on up, and then we are going to move your bolster or your block or whatever you've been laying on to the couch or a chair, something that you can put your legs up onto. You could also do this up the wall, but it's really based on your comfort level. So from here, lay onto your side, pop your butt up onto the pillow or bolster, and then roll onto your back. Rest those legs up onto the couch or the chair. You can let them relax into whatever position they want to relax into. And then we are going to do an audible exhale, getting some vibration into the pelvis. So we're going to inhale again down, really filling the space in the pelvis, getting that diamond to expand down into the basement. And then as we exhale, we're going to hum. So we're going to inhale and then exhale, hum. Inhale. You can stay in this position for as long as you feel comfortable, but I'm going to roll off now. So that is the end of this sequence. Again, it's great to start off with stretches and to really lengthen and get into that pelvic floor, but you always want to understand why your pelvic floor is tight in the first place, because stretching is not going to be the long-term solution. So once you understand why your pelvic floor is tight in the first place, it may require other exercises to really get that long-lasting relief in the pelvic floor. Follow along with me with my other videos, or head over to Instagram and follow along for just some weekly tips along the way around pelvic health.